Hi, I'm Carl, and welcome to Larp Legion. So last month, I got to attend a Bicolline campaign day. For those of you who don't know, Bicolline campaigns are a single-day event in which guilds or players can enter to compete or complete objectives in. It normally lasts for about 6 hours, and it's followed by Tavern 9. The one I went to was a special campaign called an exploration campaign, and I wouldn't have been able to go if it wasn't for Winzod from Gaia that managed to get me a spot with the Nainsgénieurs, so I just wanted to start by saying thank you to Winzod and the Nainsgénieurs for having me. The day started with a downpour. Like, I'm talking, we were putting on our gear, and like the skies opened up, and like astral oceans came pouring down on us, and yeah, honestly, I was just wet to the bone before it even started, so that was a great start, great start. The story of the event was that an exploration guild led by Longueperche had discovered a tomb in which fantastic treasures were rumored to be hidden in, but those treasures were guarded by intense traps and things, like terrible things. So Thomas had come to the exploration guilds of Bicolline to recruit them and test them to see who would accompany them to the tomb. First up, everyone had bandanas tied on them. It could be anywhere as long as it was visible. If you had a bandana, you could respawn instantly at any respawn well. If you did not, though, it would take you 5 minutes to be able to respawn. If you managed to down someone, you could take their bandanas, but if they had multiple ones, you could take all of them at once. The trick with the bandanas was that you absolutely needed one to speak to an NPC, to one of the Exploration Guild's members. If you did not have one, you could not talk to them. Like, they would insult you and make fun of you for not having one, so you absolutely needed one if you wanted to be able to talk with them. Another thing with the bandanas is that they could be used to buy items, such as vote cards and locks. The vote cards were used to put in vote boxes, like little wooden boxes that were spread all across the field in hidden, semi-hidden spots. And if you put a vote card in it, you could control that area. Well, it was like 3 areas per vote box. You could control that area in the geopolitical game. But the thing is, you couldn't know how many votes were put in by other teams, so you could try to disrupt teams that from having their own area in the geopolitical game by voting in their boxes to prevent them from having it, or you could just vote to make sure that you kept your area. The locks were used to, every team had like little plaques that were considered their base camp, and if you put a lock on the base camp, it would remove points at the end. And what you could do is you could lock locks on the lock and like create a chain lock, a lock of chain. Yeah, I think you get it. But yeah, to remove a bunch of points. Another way to get bandanas was to find hidden grain sacks and barrels that were all across the field. My team did not. We never saw any, honestly, except with the NPCs when they already had been looted. But yeah, they were like grain sacks and barrels. So it was you had a bunch of things to find around the field. One of the main ways to score points was to find flagpoles and put carabiners like this one on them. Yeah, I know. I kind of brought back my carabiner by accident because it was attached to my armor, and I only noticed when I was back home because yeah. But I'm gonna bring it back, I promise, at Bicolline, I promise. What you would do when you would find a flagpole is go up to it and attach your carabiner to it so that it was there. The thing is, other teams could pass by, remove your carabiner, put it up top, and put theirs on the main flagpole because it was like a T shape. The thing is, to score points, you need to have your carabiner on the flagpole at a certain time when the flag was raised. But the only way to know when the flag was raised was by solving riddles. The riddles would appear at respawn wells, and honestly, me being the muscle, the barbarian, I actually solved some riddles. So not just the muscles, also the brain, I guess. Yeah, I guess, was it in character, or was it just me solving riddles? I don't know. I think Grog is just pretty smart for barbarian. Yeah, I'm not stereotyped. What do you mean? The The Nainsgénieurs and I tried for a bit to do the flagpoles, but being a smaller group, we kind of stood no chance against the guilds that were like 15, so we kind of just ended up still having a blast solving the riddles, but the flagpoles were a bit out of question, sadly. A really cool part of the campaign were actually hidden artifacts that would appear at certain times. So if you would go up to a respawn well, there would be like little signs of postings for the artifacts. So that meant that when those appeared, somewhere on the field, the artifact had actually been hidden. And I actually managed to find an artifact myself. I found a golden rabbit that was hidden in a haystack. So not only am I pretty smart for barbarian, I'm also an explorer now. So Grog the Explorer. Okay, I'm stopping right now. I'm stopping myself. This is enough. No. Cut the... When we had the artifact though, the stress kicked in because we needed to bring it back to the tavern that was pretty much all the way across the field. So one of the guild members put it in our bag and we set out, super stressed, to bring it back. We actually ended up going the long way around to bring it back, and as we were doing it, we actually ran into a goblin blockade that was set on looting us, and they actually intimidated one passerby by saying, alright, we won't loot you if you help us looting them. So we set out ready to fight, and thankfully the member that had the golden rabbit in her bag kind of just squeezed out of there and just walked away without being noticed, and she made it to the tavern unarmed, thankfully, so that's good. Collecting artifacts actually gave some pretty good bonuses in the geopolitical game, so I'm pretty happy to have been able to get one for the guild that had hired me. That's also the point where a lot of people started being tired and also not pay as much attention as they normally would. So it was the perfect time to play Road Bandits. So I set out and I started attacking a few players that were like being too careless and looting their bandanas, but every time I would ask my guildies, are these people with you guys? Am I allowed to attack? Because I didn't know. I didn't know where they stood in the scheme of things. So every time I'd be like, can I attack these people? And be like, yeah. So I'd just be like, duh, duh, duh. Oh, how's the weather? Just whack them over the head and grab their bandanas. And people were always like super stunned because they'd be like, oh, did you just loot me? I'm like, did the armor with the spikes not just spell out loot? No? Okay. Survival of the fittest, I guess. I'm sorry. I actually felt pretty bad about looting some people, but it's part of the game, you know. At one point though, I noticed that there was a huge fight happening in the middle of the road, right in the village. And that's when the barbarian brain started rolling and like the gear started twitching and like making a plan, and the plan was hatched. I'm just gonna go up to them and say I just want to watch. So I got up close, and that's when I noticed that a lot of the people fighting were actually bandits or scavens or goblins, so like all NPCs. I was like, so right now they're all baddies and they pretty much all have bandanas. So I kind of just stood to the side with my back against something, and I was like, I'm just watching you guys fight, because they were like just fighting for fun because it was the end of the day. And that's when I noticed one of the goblins that had blockaded us earlier. So I'm standing right by him with like my weapon ready to whack him over the head, because I'm like, I can't loot while they're not fighting because they'll notice. I need to use the chaos of the battle. So they start fighting and they're blah blah blah, and I go to hit the goblin, but he gets downed. So I wait for his opponent to leave, and the second like the goblin sits down, I just go up to him and I tap him on the shoulder, and I'm like, give me your bandanas right now. And he looks at me, and even with the mask, I can see that he's stunned that I'm actually pulling this this pretty dumb move. So I just loot him, and I just book it towards my guildies that were up the road, and they're all like, what did you do? And I'm like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. It's all part of the plan. And actually the goblin that I looted just so happens to be Larp box owner Bart. And I have to say, I'm sorry that I looted you that way, but that's what you get, you goblin scum. As we made our way back to the tavern for the end, one of the Nainsgénieurs actually found another artifact that was like a golden pagoda. So we're like, oh my god, another artifact. So the stress kicks in again. We're escorting our friend to the tavern, but it's the end of the day, like it was right at the end, so no problem. But as we get to the tavern, Winzod comes up to me and he's like, Grog, we need you to go vote in the box that you've been putting votes, which was like all the way across the field. He's like, do you think you can make it? There's 5 minutes left. So I'm like, unbuckle me, unstrap me, I'm ready to go. So like they take off my armor and they give me little vote card and they're like, you gotta make it in time. And I just book it because like it's a 10-minute walk, even like if you walk fast, and I have like 5 minutes to run there. So I just start running and I'm like and as I'm running, I didn't take off my leg armors, my greaves, so one of them started like spinning. So the armor was biting into my knee, so I'm stopping and I'm taking it off like, I gotta run. So I take off one greave, the other was fine, so I'm running with one greave in my hand, and then the steel maw was blowing back the hot hair in my face. So I was like, I can't breathe right now, and I know I'm not supposed to be able to take this off, but I might pass out. So I just took off the steel maw, so I had greave and steel maw in hand, and I was just running all the way. And I get to where the vote box is, and it's like a downhill wooded area. So I'm like sliding and skidding down, and I see two referees there. One of them has a hair horn, and the other one has like or watch in her hand, and she stares at me like kind of glaringly, like, really? That like last minute? So I like run to the vote box and I slam the vote in, and she looks. She's just like, you had 10 seconds left. I'm like, so I just crawl all the way back to the top of the hill, and I get to the top, and I the hair horn rings, and I do like the Rocky thing, like, Adrian, I'm the best. And I see Grimmer that's there, that's like on the ground, just like breathing hard, and I had not heard, but when I started running, they were like, Grog, wait, Grimmer's gonna come with you to escort you. But I just booked it, and at one point when I took off my my greave and I started like picking up speed, I heard someone yelling in the back, so I turned around and it was Grimmer telling me to keep going. But he was so far, and I was like, why is he following? In the spurts of the moment, I was just like, I need to run. So with that, we headed back to the tavern. Although the Nainsgénieurs did not end up securing a spot to go to the tomb because there was only 5 spots, they were pretty happy with the results, so I guess we did a pretty good job, and in the end we had a blast, so that's what matters. With that came the end of the campaign day, but also the start of the tavern night. Tavern night are social events in which everyone sings, parties, drinks, and plays together no matter the guild. There were wrestling matches, there were javelin throws, there was even a poetry contest. I think I like caught a glimpse of, it looked like that's what it was, but I might be wrong. I ended up talking with a lot of people that night, so I want to say thank you to everyone who took some of their time to chat with me. It's my favorite part about Bico, so thank you very much for indulging me with good conversation. And now the Grand Bataille is right around the corner, like right around the corner. And I hope to see some of you there. If you see me with the steel maw and you want to come say hi or chat, maybe become friends, feel free to do so if I don't look busy. Just come and chat. That's why I'm here. Thank you for watching. Make sure to tell me what your favorite part of my campaign story was. Make sure to like this video and also subscribe to join the Legion.